Welcome to Her Remarkable History. Remember, to support our channel, please subscribe. The other Platinum Jubilees, the longest reigning monarchs in history. Queen Elizabeth II celebrated her 70th anniversary of her coronation on the 6th of February 2022, and with this she joined a very small group of monarchs throughout history who are fortunate enough to have a Platinum Jubilee. The celebrations that have been scheduled to take place in June include a 4-day bank holiday filled with street parties, music concerts and many unique events that will commemorate the reign of the Queen. But who are the other monarchs that will have had a Platinum Jubilee? It's crazy to think that throughout the whole of history, there have only been 4 to reach this incredible landmark. But who are the other 3 alongside the Queen of the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the Commonwealth? The first monarch to ever reach a Platinum Jubilee and 70 years on the throne was King Louis XIV of France, who came onto the throne on the 14th of May 1643, and he celebrated the 70 years on the throne in 1713. Louis is often remembered as the Sun King, and he reigned for 72 years and 110 days, which made him the longest serving monarch of any country in the whole of history. Throughout his time on the throne, he centralised state and governed from the capital of France, and he also allowed many noble men and women to live in his lavish palace of Versailles. He was successful in keeping the aristocracy happy, and he also brought together the country with regards to religion. During his long reign, France began to emerge as a strong and powerful European nation, and it was seen as a feared one because of its military. He fought many different wars, including against the Spanish, and during his reign, many palaces and significant structures were constructed. He managed to defeat the coalition between the Spanish and the Holy Roman Empire, and he also extended the frontier of France by annexing part of Flanders, and he also seized Lorraine and other territory. His fleet of ships was comparable to the English navy, and his court loved him. But towards the end of his life, he encountered a disastrous war in the War of the Spanish Succession, and he made a number of significant mistakes, and he lost his son, the Grand Dauphin, and also 2 of his grandsons. In his final days he was seen as an idol by many, but in 1715 he died 4 days short of his 77th birthday. He had died of gangrene at Versailles, and he had been in a lot of pain in his final days. But as mentioned, he is considered the longest reigning monarch ever in history, and Elizabeth would need to reign for a couple of more years to take this title. Another man to reach the Platinum Jubilee milestone was King Johann II, the Prince of Liechtenstein. He came onto the throne on the 12th of November 1858 and would reign a total of 70 years and 91 days, making his reign the 3rd longest of any monarch in European history, after Louis XIV and Elizabeth II. He became the king at around the age of 17, which was significantly older than what Louis XIV did. And during his reign he would issue Liechtenstein's first constitution and then would grant a new one following the First World War. This allowed greater political rights to commoners, and his country would leave the German Confederation 8 years into his reign. And then he even abolished the army, as it was seen as an unnecessary expenditure. However, during his reign, he would call relations with his country's closest ally, Austria-Hungary, and he brought Liechtenstein closer to Switzerland after the First World War, and his nation remained neutral during the conflict. This broke the alliance they had with Austria-Hungary, and late during Johann II's reign, the Swiss franc was the official currency of his nation. He was a fan of the arts and built up a prominent collection, and Johann was known for being a king who shunned sociable events, and he was not keen on them. He never had any children and did not marry either. Johann II died on the 11th of February 1929, and then was succeeded by his brother Franz I. The third and final man and king to ever reach a platinum jubilee was King Bhumibol the Great. He was crowned King of Thailand on the 9th of June 1946 and reigned until his death on the 13th of October 2016. During his long reign, he was served by 30 prime ministers and he inherited the throne from his brother. He claimed during his coronation he would reign with righteousness for the benefit and happiness of the Siamese people. His wife was also made queen consort, and he became the longest reigning Thai monarch. Within his reign there was a military coup which overthrew the government, but he claimed in 1979 that the king should remain impartial and be peaceful between different parties. There were more coups, and he played a key role in the transition of power in Thailand for the country to become a democratic system. He intervened when there was a threat of civil war, but even in his final decades on the throne, there were a number of coups inside of the country. However, the monarch in Thailand is highly respected, and Bhumibol would be seen as above the government. During his life, he amassed a huge amount of wealth of around $30 billion and was highly celebrated by his people. He died on the 13th of October 2016 and was 88 when he died. Thousands of people demonstrated their love for the man they considered the King of Kings, and his funeral procession was huge, and a cremation ceremony took place over 5 days. Inside of Thailand, King Bhumibol the Great had immense and enormous power, and this was mostly down to his huge popularity within the Thai population. But despite these three men all reaching their platinum jubilee, Queen Elizabeth II, when she celebrates her 70 years on the throne in the huge events in June, she will be the only queen or woman in history to reign over a country for 70 years. Throughout her reign, she has maintained being regent over many Commonwealth nations, including Canada, Australia and New Zealand, and still is the head of the Commonwealth. She has seen in her time on the throne the troubles in Northern Ireland, the devolution of power in the UK, the colonisation of Africa, and the UK's ascension to the EU, and also its withdrawal. She is known for her many historic visits to different areas of her kingdom and also the world, and she is the longest lived and longest reigning British monarch, and also the longest serving female head of state in history. Despite some people voicing their Republican sentiment, she has remained strong in her time on the throne, and support for the monarchy in the UK remains consistently high, and Elizabeth II is seen as a popular monarch. As medical care and health care improves in the world, we have to consider the very fact that the Queen could easily surpass King Louis, the Sun King, as the longest reigning monarch in history. Despite her frailty and current mobility issues, it's known that the Queen at no point intends to abdicate, and her eldest son, Prince Charles, takes on more of her duties as she grows older, along with the extended royal family. Queen Elizabeth II will one day die on the throne, launching Operation London Bridge, the plan for when Elizabeth II passes away. But as mentioned, the Queen is just one of 4 monarchs to ever reach the remarkable achievement of celebrating a platinum jubilee, and remains the only Queen in history to do so. Thank you for watching, and to support, please subscribe to Her Remarkable History. Thank you.